Hey, what's up? This is Amiibo here. Suicoke, Maharishi, both brands that I think are pretty cool, brands that I quite like, so I was excited therefore when the two announced a collab in the form of these rather crazy little things. They are sandal, tabby boot type things called the Kuno. A pretty unique piece obviously and representative of both brands, Suicoke being a Japanese sandal brand and Maharishi taking a lot of Asian inspiration in their designs and their pieces. This thing appealed to me, the idea of a sandal that you can wear all year round thanks to this boot, because I am a sock and sandal fan, but it does get pretty chilly in the UK, so not always appropriate for year-round wearing. Anyways, these come in at £179 retail, which is a shade over $200. Let's see if they're worth it for that price. These are kind of along the similar lines as other Suicoke items, but no small amount of money, that's for sure. So should you pick up a pair of Maharishi Suicoke Kunos? Aesthetics are always going to be important with a piece of clothing like this. This has a very obviously technical look to it. It uses this tri-strap design on the heel, and there's a nice big, thick, chunky neoprene strap that runs over the toe as well. That's combined with this neoprene tabby boot and finished in all black. The few exceptions to that being a dual branded logo on one of the straps, and the outsole as well is white. So there's a little bit of contrast in there, but really it's about the shapes and the different textures here as opposed to colors really doing too much work. This kind of style certainly fits the techwear aesthetic as far as things go. That split at the front, that tabby styling, the Asian inspiration certainly contributes a lot to that. That's something that I'll talk a bit more about later. But one thing that is certainly apparent here is that there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of cool little details on these sandals, lots of different bits here, and it's very evident that these are a very well constructed sandal. People do love to go on about Suicoke as having really great quality sandals, and having this pair in hand, that is certainly evident. These are very much a step up from what you would normally expect from a sandal. Just looking at like the nylon webbing and the different kinds of straps, you can see that everything is stitched very well together. It's all very solid construction. I can see these lasting a long time, no problem. In hand and on foot, unfortunately, I like these less than I hoped I would and less than I did in the initial product pictures. Reason for that is not actually the detachable inner boot, which is definitely one of the weirder aspects of the design of these sandals compared to a normal pair. It's actually the tabby styling, that detail at the front. Let's face it, it's pretty unusual for these to be seen in London as a Westerner. This tabby thing is very much an acquired taste. I'm not really sure it's something that I've acquired. And yeah, I do think it looks a little bit weird for someone like me to be wearing this as a, 6'1", 6'2" Caucasian male. It's got a little bit of a kind of Japanese tourist anime cosplay kind of vibe to it that you do kind of have to be a bit careful with when you're wearing stuff like this. I also feel that on feet, these have a surprising amount of bulk to them. Obviously, having a boot rather than just a sock, there's always going to be a bit more thickness to them, but I really feel like this boot combined with the big thick toe strap here, it has a surprising amount of bulk and presence, much more so than if you were to just wear a pair of sandals with socks. And that sleekness is really what I like about that kind of style of the sock and sandal combo, so you kind of lose some of that with having the boot, unfortunately, and yeah, that's not something that's quite to my taste. However, you do get the functionality of having an actual proper boot, so these are certainly more wearable in colder conditions than your regular pair of sandals. Kind of reminds me if these were a little bit higher of those boots that you get given when you break your ankle or something on the NHS, so great for flexing on people at the hospital, but perhaps not so fresh if you're just looking for a regular sock. That's probably exacerbated by the fact that I've got pretty big feet. These are a size 11, so these are going to look a lot bigger than they are on most people, but I'll talk more about sizing later in the video because that's something that's quite important with these, I feel. In the intro to this video, I mentioned the idea of multiple wear options, and that is because you don't have to keep this inner boot lining secured here. You can take this off and wear it as a regular or semi-regular pair of sandals. You're just leaving that tabby toe styling on the front, but other than that, it looks pretty similar to your average pair of Suicokes. The concept of that functionality is really good, and it's all fun and games when you go sockless because that tabby bit at the front doesn't actually matter. But if you want to wear socks, you can certainly get away with a regular pair of socks and just kind of forget about the tabby split toe at the front, but you're really going to be better off wearing tabby socks alongside these still. And that's something that you have to be wary of in general if you buy these, because you don't want to just slip your bare foot in there. That's just a bit gross. It's going to get really sweaty. So you're going to need tabby socks as well. So I happen to have a pair of Maharishi ones that I bought like 18 months ago. So I'm fine, but yeah, be aware that that's something that you're going to have to do with these. If you do forget about this boot though, what you've got is actually a fairly regular pair of nice Suicoke sandals. They've got the nice toe strap, they've got this very obviously technical aesthetic, they've got this these padded areas on the footbed here, they've got the Vibram outsole as well. All those hallmarks of a regular pair of Suicoke sandals are still here. So guess what? If you like Suicoke sandals, then just take the boot out and you're probably going to get along quite well with these. £179 does sound fairly expensive for a sandal, but actually it's pretty in line with a lot of other Suicoke offerings, and in fact, you could easily pay more than £179 for some of Suicoke's kind of sandal but kind of not options. So in that sense, you know, having these two things together is actually not that bad of a deal, especially because, you know, you've essentially got a normal pair of sandals here and the dual functionality because you can wear them both with and without. And you take into account the fact that this is a collab as well, which always makes things more expensive. Like, you know, they could have easily got away with charging like £150 for this sandal alone. So an extra 30 quid, you get yourself the little boot lining that you can take in and out for multiple looks. That's actually not too bad of a deal. I mean, okay, it's still in an objective sense quite a lot of money, but in comparison to other Suicoke offerings, it's actually pretty good, and I don't really feel like you're paying extra for this being a Maharishi collab at all. So if you like both of these brands, then you are getting a little bit of something extra for not really any extra cash. However, how usable these two different configurations are, boot and bootless, does leave something to be desired in terms of sizing and in terms of overall comfort. I purchased these true to size, and if you wear everything together with the tabby boot and everything, you've got a nice snug fit on this, and then the straps go over fine. So it's pretty much as expected, and in that sense, it's all good. However, if you choose to wear these without the boot, things are a little bit roomier. That's presumably to accommodate the fact that you will probably want to wear them with this. But even with a relatively thick pair of socks, I felt like there was quite a lot of room on the footbed, and also that I was having to really do up the straps fairly tightly to get any kind of security on my foot here. And combine that with the fact that these only come in full sizes, and you've got yourself a little bit of a dilemma here, because if you size down, there's no way that I would have got my feet in this, but if you choose to wear it without the boot, then you might find that these are a little bit bigger than you wanted. They're certainly a little bit bigger than I wanted. Ideally, what I would want is this bit in an 11 and this bit in a 10.5. So maybe it's just one of those things where these are just never going to work that well because they have to accommodate this. I don't know if this sandal is kind of sized up to accommodate that boot specifically, or whether it's just that in Suicoke sandals generally, I would be better off going half a size down, but the tabby boot for me just kind of fits fine. I know that sounds kind of complicated, I'm overcomplicating it, but basically I just feel like the two looks are not perfect in that these by themselves are a little bit on the roomy side. Another discrepancy that I noticed between booted and bootless varieties of the Kuno is in terms of comfort. So when you've got the boot on and everything's nice and secure, these feel pretty comfy, and they certainly do a good job of what they're supposed to in that they offer something of the aesthetic of a sandal, but with greater warmth and greater protection than what you would normally expect. So in that side, they're great. But when you take these off, I feel like these are certainly not as comfortable as they could be. Specifically this cushioning on the heel here, I find that it's actually really hard and it kind of digs into my heel as much as it does cushion and protect it. Again, I'm not sure if that's something that's to do with these pair of Suicoke specifically, in that did they make that a bit harder or change the shape of it to accommodate the fact that you're probably going to wear the tabby boot with it? Or is it just that I don't get on with this particular part of the sandal in terms of comfort? But yeah, either way, that wasn't quite to my taste. I've got to admit, I've not worn these a massive amount yet, but even after a short amount of wear, I found that that was causing some kind of discomfort. And it's just another thing that makes me a little bit less likely to want to wear these without the boot, and kind of feeling like I'm getting second best if I do opt to go for these without the boot. which is annoying because aesthetically, I would actually prefer to wear them like this because the tabby split sole at the front is that little bit less noticeable. You can tone that down a little bit and it does just look a bit more like a normal pair of sandals. In conclusion, these were a real shame, and I really wanted to like them, and I think I would have got on with them a lot better if they didn't have that tabby split sole at the front, because I actually really like the concept of having that boot inner and having the sandal as well, and I think I would have been prepared to get over the fact that the sandal in itself is maybe not perfect, in that these are clearly designed to be worn with the boot, and therefore wearing without the boot does suffer a little bit. In boot configuration though, they're just a little bit too faux Japanese for me with that tabby split sole at the front. It's going to make me just less likely to wear them. It just looks and feels a bit too costumey for me. And if I'm just going to throw away that boot so I can wear them like this, then I'd be better off getting a regular pair of Suicokes, maybe going half a size down or something like that, and I'd get a better fit but a very similar style. Because let's face it, yeah, you're losing that Maharishi dual branding, which pops up on a couple of bits, but it's really not very noticeable at all. You're better off looking at a regular pair of Suicokes, and then you've got access to a far greater variety of different styles rather than having to restrict yourself to this specifically. I just can't see myself getting adequate use out of these, so for that reason I will be looking to return them if I can. I am massively over that deadline already, but yeah, if I can, then I will be looking to switch these out for a regular pair of Suicokes, to be honest, and then I can take a look at them and review them on the basis of them just being a regular sandal, and maybe I'll find something that fits a bit better and is a little bit more comfortable as well as having, of course, a greater option of different styles for sandals, because Suicoke, of course, have some really cool ones that are definitely going to be worth checking out. So let me know what you think of these down there in the comments. I expect these are going to be pretty divisive because they are a bit weird. Some people very into the tabby stuff and the Asian inspiration, other people very much not feeling it. And if you did enjoy the video, you want to see some more reviews of this kind of thing, then definitely give it a like, it is much appreciated. And tell me if there's any other Suicoke sandals that you think I should be looking to pick up instead of these ones, because I think there's a bunch of cool models out there, and maybe you guys have some good experiences with other Suicoke models. And you want to share that, so definitely do that down there in the comments if you've seen or you own any nice Suicokes. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you next week in another video. Apologies for missing a video last week, but we're back on track now. There's going to be a bunch of cool stuff coming up. We've got a Cloudburst jacket review. We've got some winter footwear stuff because Gore-Tex has been going mad with a whole bunch of different models. We've got some budget things that's kind of in the pipeline as well, and some other stuff as well. And of course, you can always suggest different topics, and they'll probably be included and go into the mix somewhere. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you want to catch some more TechWare stuff, it's going to be going up at the top. You know it is, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then you should definitely consider joining the gang, because we're going to be doing more TechWare things every single week. Outfits, reviews, other cool stuff, general looks at fashion, whatever you want really, we got it going on. And I dropped my phone, that's cool.